In this video, I want to learn 7 lessons for project management from the hit TV and film franchise Star Trek. But don't worry, it doesn't demand that you're a dedicated fan, a Trekkie or a Trekker. It doesn't demand that you understand the plots of any of the stories. If you've got any familiarity with the franchise, you know enough to understand these 7 lessons for project managers from the universe of Star Trek. The Star Trek stories occupy a universe where humanity is at its most optimistic. As a result, its leading characters and protagonists often represent ideals which are hugely valuable in reading across to our lives as project managers. So from the big themes, I want to draw 7 important lessons for us. Number 1, ethics. The first lesson is that the stories often have a strong moral dimension to them. The resolution to the story and the conflict in the story is often about making the right ethical choice. The conflict in the story is less often about understanding what the right moral or ethical choice is, but the pressures that our characters are under in order to make them. And I think that's exactly the case with project management. Often, the problem isn't so much knowing what the right choice is to make, it's understanding that it's okay to make that choice, given the compromises that the choice will involve. Number 2 is the unknown. The stories take our characters into the unknown. That's the whole basis of the story of Star Trek. As a result, that's a choice that most of our characters have deliberately and knowingly made. And as project managers, choosing the project management career is a deliberate choice to take us into the uncertainty and therefore the excitement of the project environment, where we're doing things often that people haven't done before. In Star Trek, that deliberate choice doesn't mean that our characters don't feel fear. But what it does mean is that faced with difficult, challenging, and often scary situations, they need to remain calm and fall back on their professionalism, their technical expertise, and their sense of duty. And that's also the case with us. Sometimes we will encounter overwhelmingly difficult and sometimes very scary situations on our projects. Our resort is to our professionalism. It's to remaining calm and deploying our experience, our knowledge, our expertise, and that of the team around us. And that brings us on to our team. Number 3 is diversity. The starships in the Star Trek franchise are filled with wildly diverse crews who need to work together in every episode to solve challenging problems. In fact, the original Star Trek series was famous for the diversity of its crew. In the mid-1960s, when global paranoia was at its height, and when social issues in America were at their most toxic, we had a crew which included Asians, Russians, and African Americans. What Star Trek teaches us is that by harnessing the diversity of its crew, it can triumph over the most adverse situations. And in our world, it is a reality supported by plenty of research that the more diverse your team is, the better it can cope with uncertainty, the more sophisticated and effective its solutions to problems will be, and the better and more robust will be its decision making. If you have a diverse team and you can harness it well, then you are set up to succeed in the most challenging environments. 4th is the mixture of generalists and specialists. Our protagonists are often a mixture of specialists and generalists. But the key is that whenever the situation demands it, the leading characters will call upon the specialists they need to understand the situations they find themselves in. And that's true of project managers too. You need to build a team that combines generalists and specialists, but also draw into that team additional specialists to solve the particular problems that your project faces. The skill of a project leader is not in knowing everything, it's in harnessing the expertise of the specialists and experts that you call into your team. Fifth is communication, and I'm not here talking about those fancy communicators. I think one of the genius ideas that the original writing team had was the idea of the universal translator that allows our characters to communicate with alien species who should be speaking in languages which are wildly unintelligible to us. Wouldn't it be wonderful if on our project we had a universal translator that meant that we could communicate not just with project team members and stakeholders from different cultures, but also truly understand the meaning and intentions of our team members and our stakeholders? We don't have a universal translator, but what we do have is the ability to give our time and our commitment to listening hard, paying attention, and working at understanding the people around us. Number 6 is advice. In many episodes, the captain does not come up with the solution. In fact, I'm going to speculate that it's a rarity where the leading protagonist, which is usually the captain of the starship, actually comes up with the solution. What they do is they take advice and they listen to the advice of many characters. But, crucially, it is the captain who makes the call, who makes the final decision and takes responsibility for making it happen. And number 7 is risk-taking. My final observation is that we constantly see a willingness to be creative, to take risks, and even to break rules. Rule breaking is not something to take lightly, and in the shows, it's all in the service of doing what is right. And my feeling about project management is very much the same. Rules, guidelines, policies, procedures are important in creating an ethical base and in creating efficient, effective ways of working. But when those rules get in the way of efficiency and effectiveness and doing what is right for the project, we must challenge them and be prepared to break them. But if you do, you also need to be prepared to take the consequences, so think about it carefully before breaking rules. Never let established processes constrain you from doing what is right. Star Trek is a fun franchise for its fans. Whether you've seen one episode or 1,000, there's a lot to learn from this fictional universe. And I hope that one or more of these 7 insights will prompt you to think about your project management practice. Please do give us a thumbs up if you like this video. I'll be creating loads more great project management content, so please do subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of it. And I'll look forward to seeing you in the next video.